Have you heard about Foreclosuregate?
What is that?
Homeowners across the country are losing their homes to big Wall Street banks in foreclosure, even when these banks do not have the right to foreclose.
But these homeowners borrowed money from the banks, right?
Most of the time, yes.
Then they either have to pay or lose their homes. What's wrong with that?
Pay to whom? Lose their homes to whom?
To the banks?
Which one?
What do you mean?
Well, do you own a home? Do you have a mortgage on your home?
Yes, I bought this home in 2006 and got the mortgage from Bank of America. I'm still paying to Bank of America, I think.
So you bought at the top of the bubble.
Oh, just shut up.
Bank of America probably sold your mortgage right away to an investment trust called a real estate mortgage investment conduit, REMIC, REMIC for short.
Oh, they didn't tell me that.
And that REMIC is managed by another big bank. Wells Fargo, for example. Then the REMIC sold mortgage-backed securities to big investors, like Goldman Sachs, who receive mortgage payments through the REMIC. Mortgage-backed securities are the securities backed by mortgages like yours and hundreds of others like yours.
Okay, so who owns my mortgage? Bank of America sold it, so it cannot be owning my mortgage. The REMIC, then? Or is it the investors?
That's exactly the problem. Homeowners are finding out that Bank of America, or any of these big commercial banks, didn't transfer the mortgage papers to the REMIC, even if they were required to do so by law.
Oh, wait a minute. So Bank of America has been collecting my payments and giving them to this REMIC, but the REMIC doesn't have the papers that allow it to receive my payments? And the REMIC giving my payments to the investors who bought the securities, even if the securities weren't actually backed by my mortgage?
That's correct. Suppose you stop making payment.
I want to stop right now.
Suppose you stop making payment and Bank of America wants to foreclose. In order to foreclose, Bank of America must be the owner of the mortgage.
Let me figure it out. Bank of America cannot foreclose because they are supposed to have transferred the mortgage papers to the REMIC long time ago.
And the REMIC cannot foreclose because Bank of America didn't transfer the mortgage papers to them.
So, who can foreclose then?
Good question. In foreclosure hearings in the judicial states.
Wait, what is a judicial state?
A state where foreclosures have to go through court.
I see.
In the judicial states, the bank who manages the REMIC claims they have the mortgage and tries to foreclose, but the judges don't allow it in many cases.
Why?
Because the REMIC often received the mortgage after the foreclosure process started. The REMIC cannot receive a new mortgage once the REMIC is set up, and it cannot receive a defaulted mortgage.
Oh, it sounds like a one big screw up.
It's more than a screw up. It's been happening all over the country, in both judicial states and non-judicial states. One big Wall Street bank sold mortgages to a trust managed by another big Wall Street bank, without actually endorsing and transferring the mortgage documents. The trust, REMIC, issued mortgage-backed securities, even though it didn't have actual mortgages to back the securities.
So the REMIC was selling the securities short. Naked short.
You could say that. And when foreclosure proceedings start, and homeowners demand the banks to show the mortgage papers properly endorsed and transferred,
they can't, because there are no such papers.
Correct. So you see, it is not a minor screw-up here and there. It's nationwide, same pattern.
And banks have gotten away with it because
everyone's been doing the same thing.
It's a fraud. Why isn't the government doing something?
Good question. I guess it's just easy to blame homeowners for not paying a few $100,000 than to actually go after too big to fail Wall Street banks that have received trillions of dollars from taxpayers.
Trillions?
Yes, tens of trillions.
But the banks, if they cannot foreclose because they don't have the proper papers, why do homeowners keep losing their homes in foreclosure?
Well, even in judicial states, 90% of homeowners in foreclosure do not bother to show up in court. So, the banks get the homes 90% of the time.
Why?
Well, average homeowners don't know all these things. They may not have money to hire an attorney, or they have simply given up. Many judges are there to help banks foreclose quickly, although that seems to be changing.
What about non-judicial states?
Attorneys tell homeowners not to bother. It is business as usual. Always has been. And there is no process in the county or state government that allows homeowners to contest the foreclosure easily.
So in non-judicial states, banks get the home, even if they don't have the right to do so, almost all the time.
Yes. And Bank of America, who already sold your mortgage to the REMIC and was fully paid, will make more money selling your home in foreclosure sales.
How?
They take a chunk of sales as fees.
And none of these banks have the correct mortgage papers. There's something very rotten here, stinking to high heaven.